The unsuspecting Oro does not realize the same car he had seen a while ago has been following him from a safe distance. The vehicle that trails behind him has ulterior motives.
Hello, where have you been? Where have you been all night? You want to kill me? I've called and Hello? Tony?
This is not your husband. Your husband is with us.
Sorry, sir. Please, is my husband fine? Was it an accident? What?
Your husband is with us. We kidnapped him.
Hello? Hello? Yes, sir. Ah, thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so grateful.
The era of law enforcement or enforcing the law or initiative coming from the police in enforcing the law or fighting crime has changed. We've looked at the structure of the police as it is now, and we went into the provision of the Law and Police Act and came up with special constabulary where people will be identified within the community, within the ward, within the district, within the village level, up to local government level. These individuals that are identified will be trained on police duties and laws within a period of 3 months and will be deployed as community policing officers, and they have all the rights and immunities of police officers, so they will operate as police officers.
It's been 5 days since Oro's return. Sometimes it feels like the past 6 days in captivity never happened. The memories of the torment and uncertainty he suffered while he was taken hostage continue to linger. Mr. Oro musters courage to approach the police, and he officially makes a statement.
It was around 7.
Around 7 p.m.
7
Okay. Do you notice the color of the vehicle that was after you?
No. As I was just trying to pull up, before you knew what's happening, they just got down and pulling me out of the car. Get out!
The case is handed to DSP Okonkwo Chinedu of the Anti-Kidnapping Unit of the IGP Intelligence Response Team.
We got a report from the CSO of the company that he was kidnapped on the 22nd of March and that the kidnappers are demanding 15 million, I believe. So when we got this report, we started, making our own plans, planning on how to go about the investigation, from the negotiation, down to the release of the hostage and everything. So successfully on the 28th of March, the kidnappers released the hostage. When we retrieved the hostage, we debriefed him when he was calm.
Were they shooting? Were they with a rifle?
They were armed, obviously. They were armed, but they pulled me out of the car.
How many of them?
Like 4.
They are all men?
All men.
Okay.
all men and all armed. I think we drove for like 10-15 minutes or thereabout. I'm not so sure.
It was important for us to understand information such as the vehicles with which the kidnappers operated with, where he was held captive. We have a trend of kidnapping that is worrisome now.
Because for the few days I spent there was a school around that place.
Okay.
Because every morning I hear, almost every morning, the people is chanting some.
But you don't have the opportunity to look around, maybe
I was
through
blindfolded.
window.
I was handcuffed. They tied my hands and they tied my legs. So there's nowhere I would have prayer, and everywhere was covered.
They beat him up a little, they threatened to kill him.
People don't want to pay money back, eh? They don't want to pay money back, eh?
They have to use my ATM card to get some money from my account.
The next day, they now started calling the family.
Hello? Hello? Yes, sir. Ah, thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so grateful.
All I knew that at some point, they took me away from that point and they dumped me somewhere.
From there on, the investigation started. So our people moved to the scene of crime. We saw where he was released. He gave us some information about the things he was hearing around the house. From his own account, we were able to understand that the place where he was still inside town because of what he was hearing around school, children, and all that.
In many cases, when a kidnap is reported, you practically have nothing to work with. In this case, once the hostage was released and we interfaced with him, like I said, we were able to pick some vital information. One of them was that the hostage, while in captivity, managed to pick a POS slip that fell off one of the kidnappers. While he was with them, one of them was careless enough, it dropped off him. So he picked it and concealed it within himself. So as soon as he came out, he confided in us and gave us that information. And that was what gave us the big lead.
The first lead is the POS receipt that Oro had discreetly taken away from the kidnappers' hideout. The 26-year-old Ali is the administrator of his brother's money vending business.
I don't really look for your customers. I want to collect small something. I don't find you now. You know they see me. I don't come. One day I come and see you. How much?
He is still in the middle of attending to a client when suddenly the police arrive. The police introduce their mission and they invite Ali to their station to shed more light on the POS receipts.
We were able to work with the banks, traced the particular POS that they use in running that transaction. We picked the POS operator, and from his record and the bank record, we were able to know the person that was the recipient of that money that was transferred. We traced and arrested that individual who was able to tell us that yes, he received payment from his brother.
Is this for you? Is this not for you?
Yes, it's mine.
We'll transfer the money into your account.
So was my brother.
Your brother?
Yes.
Where can we find your brother? Where can we find your brother?
He stays at one hotel. He's always one hotel. Yes.
Do you know the place?
Yes. Yes.
Charles is arrested immediately. The police confirms that Heniel resides in the hotel along with a friend of his, Issa. Both men are lodged with their girlfriends. Heniel and Issa have gone out, but their girlfriends are still in the hotel room. The police must proceed with tact if they are to make a success of this case. They need to strike at the perfect time so that they don't scare the suspects. "19-year-old Joy is Heniel's girlfriend. Joy had been living with her parents in Lagos. Then she decided to move in with her friends. Shortly afterwards, she met Heniel, and for the past 1 week, Joy has been living in the hotel with him. "26-year-old Rashidat is the longtime girlfriend of Heniel's friend, Issa. Joy is expecting a friend of hers, 22-year-old Onwe.
You don't start thinking. Babe, if you open this door, your hands go break. Go and open the door. Yeah. Because of this chicken where you give me, if not, age na number, babe, age na number.
It is the longest of hours. The police does not allow anyone leave the room or use their mobile phones for the risk of alerting Heniel or Issa. When Heniel Madu gets back, he will find them waiting.
We waited behind with those girls until the early hours of the morning, about 3 a.m., when these guys returned from the operation. It turned out that they had gone out for an operation again, because when they came back armed. But because they didn't know that the police was lying, waiting in the hotel with their girlfriends, they freely walked into the room. Then our men pounced on them, only to find them armed with their weapons, which they went out with.
The police is keeping watch, waiting for Heniel Madu and his friend Issa to return to their hotel room.
Those two people we arrested, we recovered one revolver gun, locally made revolver gun, long one, with 4 AK-47 live ammunition. We recovered one locally made Beretta pistol and another Beretta pistol with 9 live ammunition for the Beretta pistol.
Once they have Heniel and Issa in their custody, the police ask to be taken to where Oro was held hostage. The investigation team wonders how Oro was held captive in such a busy neighborhood for 6 days without drawing any attention.
They took us to the house where they used as their stronghold, where they kept him. It was somewhere in Karimo. All in all, after that arrest of those other 2 people, now we had 4 suspects in our custody. All of them confessed to the crime. All of them confessed to the people that were keeping the hostage in their stronghold, how they did the kidnap, everything, So they equally led us again to one other prosper. That one was he was the second in command that arranged the whole kidnap, right? So he was equally arrested.
Members of the public are advised to reach us for their complaints and the distress call through the numbers displayed on the screen. Their distress calls will be answered.
"36-year-old Mahmoud, commonly referred to as Opus, is on the run. It has been 2 days since the police arrested his friends, Heniel and Issa, and he has been hiding at his girlfriend's house. Mahmoud has asked another of his girlfriends to find out what has happened to his friends. She's calling to let him know that everything has calmed down and it is safe for him to return.
Are you sure? These people can be funny sometimes. They might not be on their uniform. So I would...
Mahmoud is relieved to hear this, and based on the word of his girlfriend, goes back to the hotel.
Are you not the owner of the locally made gun? Let me rephrase the question. You are the owner of the locally made gun. What is your connection with them? Talk to me, what is your connection with them?
Mahmoud is taken in for interrogation. The officer tells him that his friends, Heniel and Issa, have confessed, and they have told the police that he's the owner of the locally made revolver found in their custody. The same gun said to have been used during the kidnap of Mr. Oro.
Talk to me. Is it Snow or Ananiel?
Yes.
The kidnap can happen in Abuja and somebody in Niger State is handling ransom negotiation. So if you dwell on that person alone, you might be misled. So we were able to get actively those who participated, a total of 5. We got a total of 5 suspects in that case, in addition to other people that were arrested in the course of the investigation, like girlfriends of those people, maybe buyers of some of the stolen items they made away with, and maybe people who assisted them one way or the other with providing them with probably a pre-registered SIM with which they handled the ransom negotiation.
Anil and Issa, they have told us everything about you. Everything about you.
He denies knowledge of the kidnap. But when he learns that other members of his gang are in custody and they have confessed to the crime and given him up, aka Godson is boxed in. He decides to tell the police everything.
I am CP Radio Ladodo, the Commissioner of Police Imo State. Keep watching Crime Fighters, the police and you.
Well, we're driving randomly. So, while we were passing Jehovah's Witness, a Matrix car came and parked in front of Jehovah's Witness. I don't know if the man lives, because houses are there, so I don't know if he lives there or if he was going to worship his God in that church. Then the dad told me to stop. The dad came down from my car, the four of them, now advanced to the man. So the man was still in the car. So I was saying, calm down, and enter the back seat of the man's car. A matrix car, but I don't know the color because it was dark already. So they now put the man in the back seat. One of them now drove the man's car, while the rest were with the man. That was how they took the man and go. They had a Patrick and Abdul guided the man in that place for the days the man spent there with Ike. So when Allah went, that was when Allah saw the man that I've not seen before. That's the man that chose those boys that said you should bring somebody for here. So the man that said that I should not be scared, that you just use my car for maybe 3-4 days. So they now use my car and they now took the van. I don't know where they went to go and drop the van. So when they now came back, they were now inside. They now allowed me to enter inside the house. So entering the house, that was where the van was. So we entering that house. So they now said, my own share is 150,000 naira. So they now gave me 150,000 naira. Then the rest too collected, and then the Oga and the other ones now said they will share their own separately. So they gave that Hannah Patrick, which I'm sure they gave me 150,000 naira because it was in my present, and they gave Abdul 150,000 naira too. They gave me 150,000 naira. So I now took my car and I left.
The long arm of the law has finally caught up with these men. It is time for them to pay.